listen, Creative Space on Omega Radio every Wednesday at 10:30 with your host, Catherine Shapiro. Good morning out there in Omega Radio land. I love to listen to all the wonderful preachers and pastors that come before me, and I always get grains of wisdom from that. And the first thing I get is relationships are everything. Relationship with your spiritual guide, relationship with God, relationship with your fellow human beings. That is where you see God, in the minds and the hearts and the love of your favorite people, your friends, maybe even your enemies. They can teach you something too. It's all about relationships. I have a wonderful lady on the phone waiting to talk to you and give you some great tips about how to form relationships with art, how to be more creative, and the struggles she went through, and the wonderful person she is. This is Sheila Elias. Good morning, Sheila. How you doing, girlfriend?
I'm doing very well, thank God. Glass half full, and delighted to be invited to be on your program. And hopefully, anyone hearing me can get some creative tips to continue on their journey, because it is a journey, and you never know what occurs. An example is the other day, Catherine called me and invited me to be on this excellent exhibition show, and so I'm very thrilled to be invited. Any questions you want to ask me, Catherine?
Yes, please. Tell us a little bit about yourself and that moment that you knew you were an artist and this is where you wanted to be.
When I never knew an artist. My mother was an interior designer. My grandfather made men's clothing, and my grandmother was a dress designer, but I never knew an artist. When I was 8 years old, my mother had taken me to the Art Institute of Chicago, like you take your children to museums. And when I saw Matisse, I actually felt my heart stop. I'm not imagining it. And I told my mother I wanted to go there every day and not go to school anymore, just come here. She said, you can't quit school, but you can come every Saturday and all summers. And that's when I started junior school at the Art Institute of Chicago. And I do believe that the creative bud is encouraged when you send children to some of these art classes. I think it's important.
Absolutely. We have quite a few here locally, and you can find those listed on my website at cmscreationsart.com. Now, there's always a person, and it most definitely was your mom when she took you to that museum.
Yes.
Did you have an instructor, another person who perhaps helped you,
yes.
And how did they do that?
I had a couple of mentors. I had a girlfriend. Her name was also Sheila, actually, and she encouraged me. She says, I had two little children at that point, or I was painting at home at night when the children went to sleep. And she said, you've got to go to the Evanston Art Center, which had Art Institute teachers teaching there. And I was in my 20s at that point, and I went to the Evanston Art Center, which was nearby, and I had a teacher called Rudolph Penn and another one called Abbott Patterson. They were both very, very encouraging to me. And then eventually I had one of my best teachers who also taught at the Art Institute of Chicago, Paul Wiegart. He had escaped from Germany with the Bauhaus School, and he was a brilliant, brilliant teacher. And between those three, I wound up going back to the Art Institute to getting my undergraduate degree, and then when I moved to California, getting my master's in fine arts and 5.5 years of art history. I never stopped studying, and I never stopped going to school. When I finally got my BFA, I said, that's it, I'm not going to go. And I only went once after that, is to get a course in some computer information.
Well, it's really interesting how you can find a teacher and a source of learning in a lot of interesting places. You found it in the museum. You found it in your friends. You found it in the things you read. You found it in the fact that your parents and your grandparents, your parents are basically descendants of survivors. They survived. They fought. They lived long enough to spread that to you, and that is a fabulous thing.
Yeah, they were very encouraging to me, my parents. I used to show at the art fairs originally in Chicago, had some very, very good art fairs, Old Town Art Fair. And those days I was selling drawings for $20 or something, and I was thrilled, And then they had Old Orchard Art Fair. And these were very, very good art fairs. You had to be juried to get into them.
There's one in Coral Springs that we do every year that's absolutely fabulous. It's usually in March. There are lots of different opportunities around in our local area to do all kinds of art-related shows, festivals. We have a youth art guild right here in Coral Springs.
Wow.
You sign up at our local museum. There are a lot of places where you can do great art and have fun with your kids for very, very little and a lot of enjoyment and a lot of future love and benefit to the entire world and the entire community. So where are you located right now?
I'm in Miami. Actually, North Miami is where my studio is. But I think that art, in my opinion, art expands your life. I mean, it's so wonderful. If you go to a city and you go to the museums and you look at art, it just expands your life. The art fairs, Art Basel here. I actually had a show at the Coral Springs Museum, a solo show, and it was quite a mini retrospective. It was very good. It was very good at the Coral Springs Museum some years ago.
Thanks for catching us up. We really do appreciate your tips and your help in regards to the whole relationship you have with art.
So I wound up sharing studios in New York over the years because I never lived there permanently. But because I had a studio originally in L.A. and then in Miami, I shared with another artist because then this way you only pay half the rent. And I was in New York a lot and exhibited a lot. And one of the exhibitions I was in was called Liberty. Was the anniversary of the Statue of Liberty, and I was showing with Alex Rosenberg on 57th Street at that time. And one of the paintings was called Two French Girls, and it was based on the statue. Or anything, going to these museums expands your life. I have a friend that's in finance, and she said that since she met me, I have expanded her knowledge of art. And it's not like I'm teaching her, but because of my remarks to her and
because your presence.
and taking her with me to Art Basel and to different art shows or my shows that I've had in my studio. I have a studio in North Miami, and people could come to it by appointment. I'd be delighted to have any tours or singular people want to come. And you can look it up at SheilaElias.com.
Thank you so much, Sheila. We really do appreciate your openness and your energy in talking to us. You know, it's funny. I ran into a young lady on the way in here, and she told me about her little girl who is
So that is the title of that. That was the impetus for that painting. And the figures are flying around. And my energy, I have a lot of energy, and my work shows the energy. And there was a book written about me called Somewhere Anywhere. It was underwritten by the NSU, the Fort Lauderdale Museum, underwrote it.
wow.
And the critic and a Fulbright scholar wrote it, and the critics said that I have the ability to paint about the optimism of life when a lot of people are painting about the pessimism of life.
You know, it's funny. One of the things that I've learned over the years about being creative is that it's built on optimism. Yeah, there's not always optimism to be found. It's your job, right? Sometimes, as an artist, to find that 100%. And give it to people, to find good messages.
When we came out of the pandemic, I did a painting called Svetlana and the Butterflies, and it shows figures jumping around and butterflies all over them. And it's almost like a catharsis.
A lot of different things.
Yeah.
And what we would do is we would post them on the windows, and people would look in and realize, yeah, there's somebody there, and yeah, we're still here, and yes, we are going to survive this. And that's one of the...
There are artists that do pessimistic work, as you know. A lot of it dark, very dark. But
sometimes it is.
That's their personality, and that's their imagery.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes what you need is anger to change something. But, you know, what you need is hope, too. And you need those relationships. And you 100%. Need to connect with the ones you love. So that's why we're here.
One of the things that I did when I lived in Los Angeles was I was in Skid Row. And I was on the 5th floor of the building. And I... had gone to Paris and seen the Pompidou Museum, which had the crossbeam imagery in it. Mm-hmm. And I had related that to the Chicago, where I was born. A lot of the architectural buildings had crossbeams. And when I saw the museum at the Pompidou, it just related. I did a tremendous number of paintings based on that crossbeam.
Simple shapes are some of the things that inspire people. You can just look at your, what I did when I first moved into my new house was I would look out the window every day, and the first thing you see, you draw. You do it simple, you do it quick, you do it fast, and you put it in a form that you can't lose. Then you go back later and you make it into something that's bigger.
Wonderful. That was like your sketch for a larger piece, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So
what I did for this, so when I got home, I saw all the street people, so I figured they're never going to see the Pompidou Museum. So what I did is I hand-painted shopping bags and handed them out to all the street people with the crossbeams and glitter. It was on the front page of the LA Times, because then I did 10 by 6 foot shopping bags and hung them from the 5th floor of my building to the 5th floor of the empty building on the opposite of the street.
These are the people that we don't often see.
That's
and what
why
happens to you when you don't get seen? And you saw those people. And for that, I am so grateful to you. I lived in Los Angeles. In fact, I was born and raised in California. And one of the things you learn pretty quickly in an environment like California's is everybody needs everybody.
Right. And now there's so many people that are homeless, it hurts your heart. And we try to help them as much as we can.
And that's what you do. When you find yourself as an artist, it's really, really a good idea to find a place, find a thing, find something that you love that you would like to keep, or something that you know needs changing. Find that thing, bring that thing into the world, and fix it. Fix it so that nobody loses it. And I am so glad we met. It's just amazing.
Recently, I was at MoCA, the Museum in Contemporary Art on 9th Street here in North Miami. And there was an art teacher there, and I invited her to my studio, and I told her that at the beginning of next term, she should bring a lot of these kids that are on scholarships. And I wanted her to bring a tour. It's not that far from my studio. I'm on the railroad track on 14th, and MoCA's on 9th. And so I said, I'd like you to bring the children because I want them to see the art and how artists, create.
Mm-hmm. Because
so she's going to tour in the fall.
Absolutely. And it's funny that you should say that on the way up here. My God love them. I have a huge team of people that keeps me up here, keeps me ready, keeps me happy, and gets me into this chair because it's not always the easiest thing in the world. And on the way over here, I ran into a woman whose daughter was an artist. And who we are going to hopefully work into our program on the show. She is a wonderful young lady. She just graduated from middle school, I believe is what it is. And we are going to see and talk to her, and you will know in your heart, as at any age, it is never too late. It's never too far, and you will be able to find the thing that you love if you just look for it, be open to it, and you're there when it happens.
Well, I'm really pleased that you wanted to interview me, and I'm looking forward to meeting you in person at one time. I hope you can make it to my studio at one point. And my next show is in October, and it is curated by two people. One is the curator from the MoCA, and the other one is this Laura Sheridan Rafey, who's an art consultant, and she's the one that integrated the idea for the exhibition. And in this exhibition, they're not sure, they haven't chosen the whole show yet, it's for October, but I had shown flower paintings at the Botanic Gardens. Of course, they're very abstract, my flower paintings, and they may be using a lot of these in that show, so we'll see what they choose, the curators.
Well, that will be marvelous. You send the information to us. If you have if you have an event, if you have
you will be on my list.
Exhibit, absolutely. Bring it to us. We will share it for you on the Creative Space, and you will have more to do than you will know what to do with.
Well, I have had an exciting, after coming out of the COVID, for 2 years or 3 years, a show was canceled outside in Chicago area. My son and daughter are both accomplished artists. Josh lives in Los Angeles and Joyce in Evanston, Illinois, right near Northwestern. Mm-hmm. And they have budding careers. They're doing very well, both of them. And we had a 3-person family show called Family E
at
the Highland Park Center. And it was like a museum show, and there was a catalog. It's on Amazon called Family E.
Well, you know what? The family that lives together, does art together, prays together, and talks together, they will stay together.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate all this.
You are so welcome, and we will definitely talk again. What I'm going to do is post all of the information that you've sent me on my webpage. You keep posting on Facebook. We found each other on LinkedIn. Artists, I'm telling you, get on LinkedIn. It's the best thing.
I never go on LinkedIn, really. And just accidentally the other day, I said, well, I should go on LinkedIn. I really don't go on it.
There you go. See? Somebody is sending you a message out there, folks. Listen to the message. Find it. Pursue it. Don't lose it.
Thank you again.
Thank you, dear. Take care now.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, everybody, just to let y'all know where we're at, we are on 101.9 FM Omega Radio, and we are in the middle of a really interesting month. We are celebrating and nourishing and encouraging the support of listener-supported local radio and these great programs like the Creative Space. You can contact Omega Radio in so many different ways that they are hard to remember. One of them, and the one that I sort of found by accident, was also on LinkedIn. If you are in if you're in Jamaica, you want to call the office WhatsApp at 876-319-1148. And you can also call in at 876-613-9129. In Honduras, the number is 504-3226-4886. In Florida, our local number is 954-773-8377. And you can call in live and talk to me right now on the radio at 954-900-4310. You can also call toll free at 1-877-494-0253. Good morning again, all. In case I haven't introduced myself lately, I am your perfectly imperfect host, Catherine Shapiro. I'm a local resident of Coral Springs, and I have been so fortunate to be partners with our great people here at Omega Radio. There's my wonderful engineer who makes me look good no matter how hard it is, and sometimes it's tough, believe me. We have wonderful pastors, absolutely terrific people that you need to support by your giving and your love and your acts in the community. because we give love through others. We give love in so many ways, and God loves us no matter who we are, no matter where we are, no matter what we are. He loves every creation on earth because we are well and beautifully made. Thank you for joining us today. Be very kind to one another. I'll see you again. Remember, if you love Omega Radio, support Omega Radio. There are lots of ways to give and lots of ways to support us here in the creative space. So come on by. Come on the radio. Come talk to us on Facebook. You can find these on-the-go recordings on the YouTube channel. Just look me up under the Creative Space with Catherine Shapiro. And you can even subscribe to the Omega Radio news channel, to the radio channel. And it's fabulous. It has all kinds of different wonderful shows, not just this one. And we are listener-supported local radio, broadcasting live right here from Coral Springs. It's amazing. I had no idea this was here for a lot of years, and then I came upon it by accident. Local radio with a long reach. We know you're out there in Jamaica. You want to give us a call. Get us on WhatsApp at 876-319-1148. You can call in from 876-613-9129. And we actually did have a few callers from Jamaica a while ago on my show, and I'd love to talk to you again. Dean, how's your book? Let us know how you're doing. We love creatives of all kinds, and we are dedicated to people of all abilities in every discipline. If you're a dancer, come tell us how your dance is going. What inspires you? They say that movement is a form of meditation and prayer, too. There's a place for you here in this world, and God will help you find it. Here on Omega Radio, 101.9 FM. Join us every Wednesday at 10:30 in the morning. I'll be here waiting for you. Listen, Creative Space on Omega Radio every Wednesday at 10:30 with your host, Catherine Shapiro.
Reach for the stars. Recording of any type.